So thank you very much, Nazanin and Mr. Jashim, my fellow speakers and colleagues. A very good afternoon to you. I think as a diplomat, when you come to kind of public event like this, it's very, very difficult. How do you put your point of view forward, especially when you are trying to put forward some difficult points? But here, I think I'm really glad that a lot of points that I wanted to make have already been made, and in very, very candid manner. And I was really struck by some of the observation that some of the speakers in this session as well as in the previous session made. And I was struck by a particular point that Bangladesh is too big to graduate. And I think that's really a very good point, because I think Bangladesh is the biggest economy ever to be graduating. All of the economies, like the big ones like China and India were never a part of the LDC list. Therefore, Bangladesh is going to be the biggest ever economy, both in terms of population as well as the size of the economy, to be graduating. And for a $400 billion economy to be graduating, if I am Bangladesh, I would be tempted to see that as an opportunity as well as a challenge. We should, as I would think, Bangladesh should not really be just focused on looking at, extending the preferential access, whether it's from the EU. By the way, we are out of the EU, so we have got our own GSP since January this year, and there is a process of consultation underway as to how we can improve our GSP. I'll come to that later. But as a $400 billion economy, Bangladesh has got a lot to offer to the rest of the world, as it has got to obtain from the rest of the world. And that's a big bargaining point, which should not be lost sight of when it comes to negotiating with other countries. Surely enough, any economy, anyone gets used to some of the benefits that come with certain categorization, and in this case, with LDC, there are quite a few benefits for Bangladesh that Bangladesh has kind of made good use of to leverage and grow very fast. But a lot of these benefits are meant to be transient. They are not meant to stay forever. So even if Bangladesh manages to extend it beyond the current transition period of 2029 to say 2032, you will still be weaning away from those benefits. So the transition period is always meant to be used as a period during which a country prepare itself to face competition. And I think the ready-made garment sector is a very good example. So you have got broadly two sets of markets that Bangladesh is supplying to. If you look at it from a GSP point of view, you have US, as Dr. Khandekar said, where there is no GSP, and yet this year, if my statistics and information is correct, Bangladesh is exposed to the American market has grown faster than it's exposed to the European market. So, here is the industry which is able to compete on its own. So, GSP may not be as big a deal for the R&D sector as it is perhaps thought out to be. When it comes to the other challenge of concessional finance, Bangladesh has been a middle-income country, low middle-income country since 2015 by World Bank IMF classification. And therefore, Bangladesh actually is a blend country. It doesn't have access to only ODA terms. It is a blend country. So in a way, you are already weaned away from the concessional finance. So again, that may not be as big a deal as it is made out to be. The other area that I've pointed out is around WTO multilateral trade regimes, especially those related to IPR and other things which are very relevant not just to the pharmaceutical industry. It should be looked at a point of view of when your industry is diversifying, you need access to technology, new technology. And unless, as a foreigner, I feel that my technology and patent is going to be secured and the integrity is going to be maintained, I will be very, very reluctant to provide access to that technology. So if Bangladesh has to get access to foreign technology, then without a strong IPR regime, that's not going to happen. And if Bangladesh industry, manufacturing and other industry have to grow beyond where they are now, they will need access to not just capital, but also to technology. Perhaps technology is going to be a bigger constraint than capital itself. And that's not going to happen without a strong IPR regime. So, the minimum point that I'm trying to make is maybe, graduation is not as big a deal as it is made out to be, given that, Bangladesh is already so big. So it is perhaps not really an watershed moment for Bangladesh. But if you look at it, in Bangladesh's travel from 1971 in 50 years to where it is, then certainly you could also look at it as a watershed movement, that policies, regulations, institutions that brought Bangladesh to where it is, they may or may not be enough to take Bangladesh where it wants to be. So, the government has set rightly very high ambition to become a high middle income country by 2031 and a high income country by 2041. And that requires Bangladesh to grow at a much rapid rate than we have seen in the past. And those kind of rate of growth over a sustained period of time doesn't happen without a competitive kind of economy, an economy that is open to foreign trade, open to foreign investment, and is willing to compete with anyone on its own term. So I think reform is therefore of paramount importance. Reform of policy, reform of regulation, reform of institutions, they are going to be critically important for Bangladesh's journey towards being a high middle income country by 2031 and a high income country by 2041. So I'll take a pause there. And with regard to GSP, post Brexit we launched our own GSP in January this year, and there is a process of consultation with every beneficiary of GSP of the UK to talk to them to find out how best we can improve this policy in a way that it works for the beneficiary country and also works for the UK. And we have written to the Ministry of Commerce as our counterpart to organize a consultation around this subject, and we are waiting to be guided by the Foreign Ministry and Ministry of Commerce how they want to take that consultation forward. So with that, let me take a pause there. Thank you.